The story you are about to hear happened in a rural area of Mexico, an area so lonely that it had very few residents. You want to know what's most terrifying? All right, people say this story is entirely real. So stay with me and experience the fear in this very moment. Sergio was a good kid. His father had died long ago. His mother, Sarah, was a woman who tried her best to give him everything she could. But they were going through a very difficult economic situation. The income they got was barely enough to survive. Because of that, both of them lived in a trailer. They had no electricity. Luckily for them, Sarah had a friend, someone well off who owned a lot of land. This man allowed her and her son to stay on one of his properties. That way, she could park the trailer there and avoid paying municipal taxes. About 20 to 30 meters from where they parked the trailer, there was a small shed. The owner stored his tools there, and he kindly gave Sergio and his mother access through it whenever they needed something. The shed was very small, but it had electricity. There was a paved path near the trailer that led to the shed, and then it disappeared about 2 kilometers beyond, where the owner's house was. Around the shed there was also a 2-meter fence enclosing the whole area. Inside the fence lived a dangerous dog. Sergio was terrified of the dog because of its aggression. But he understood it, because according to the owner, when the dog was a puppy, children had mistreated it. Sergio spent a lot of time in that shed. It was the only place he could enjoy light and electricity. He played on a Sega Genesis connected to an old television. He often invited his best friend, Jacobo. But this time, he invited Jacobo to stay the night, so they could play video games until very late. Around 6 in the evening, they turned on the console. They played until they finished one of Sergio's favorite games, around 2 in the morning. But they weren't tired yet. They wanted to keep having fun. Sergio's mother had already gone to bed, and the 2 boys stayed playing. Then, suddenly, Sergio heard something. Something coming from the trees, barely visible in the dim moonlight. It was a strange sound, like something approaching. "Did you hear that?" Sergio asked Jacobo. But Jacobo was so focused on the game that he didn't pay attention. "No," Jacobo replied, "I didn't hear anything." Suddenly, the sound got louder. This time Jacobo heard it too. But he still didn't seem to care. They kept playing until about half an hour passed. It was freezing, so cold that it made them shiver. Jacobo dropped the controller and paused the game. "Okay," he said, "I'll be right back. I need to use the bathroom." "The bathroom is at your place, at Sergio's house," Sergio said. "Okay," Jacobo answered, "I'll wait here." Jacobo left, and Sergio stayed behind playing. But Sergio was very aware of time, like only a child can be. He thought Jacobo was taking way too long. He paused the game with the controller, left it on the rug, stood up, and decided to go look for him. He opened the door and screamed. Jacobo was standing there, right in the doorway, facing the door, eyes wide open, in complete silence, like a statue. Like a doll, his gaze was locked on Sergio, and he didn't move at all. Sergio stumbled backward 2 steps, his hand pressed to his chest. "Damn it, you scared me," he snapped. "What's wrong with you? What's going on?" Sergio assumed it was some kind of terrible prank. He couldn't think of anything else. "Stop with the stupid stuff," Sergio said, rolling his eyes in annoyance. But Jacobo didn't react. "In a second," Sergio said. "I'm going to go find something to eat, and I'll use the bathroom too." He stepped aside abruptly to go to the house. But the moment Sergio touched Jacobo, he realized 2 things. First, Jacobo was stiff, like Sergio hadn't touched a human being, but instead had pushed against a light pole. And second, worst of all, Jacobo was extremely cold. Sergio managed to move out of the way and walked toward the house. Then he noticed something else. Jacobo was following him from behind. Not just walking behind him. staying about 10 centimeters away, like some kind of robot. Sergio felt uncomfortable. He stopped, turned around, and demanded answers about why Jacobo was following him like that. But as Sergio kept walking, Jacobo kept following him, still too close. Sergio's fear grew. He started running. But he didn't get away. Jacobo kept following, very close behind him. Sergio ran all the way to his house. He opened the door and left it slightly ajar. Jacobo stayed outside, staring at him the same way Sergio had seen him when he opened the shed door, only this time there was a faint, almost smile on his face. Sergio felt uneasy, but he still tried to convince himself it was just another prank. He went to open the bathroom door, then he heard a voice coming from inside. "Hey, I'm still here." It was Jacobo's voice. Sergio froze. His eyes went wide with terror. He tried to wrestle the bathroom door open. And Jacobo's voice echoed again. "Sergio, what's wrong with you? I already told you. I'm still here." Sergio screamed and turned toward the slightly open door to look for the other Jacobo. But there was no one there. Sergio yelled so loudly that his mother woke up instantly. She rushed toward him, holding a flashlight. "What's going on?" she demanded, nearly shouting, terrified for him. Jacobo, by the shock, pulled the chain and opened the door. "What's happening, Sergio?" Jacobo asked. But Sergio was trembling uncontrollably. He told his mother and Jacobo everything that had happened. Unfortunately, his mother didn't believe him. "Son," she said, "I think you hallucinated. You must be dreaming." Then she went back to bed. Jacobo decided to return to the shed, so he pulled Sergio with him to keep playing. "Come on," Jacobo said. "Don't be dramatic. Let's keep playing." Sergio agreed, and they went back to the shed. Once they were inside again, Sergio insisted he knew what he had seen. Jacobo tried to calm him as best he could, but Sergio stayed terrified, sitting on the floor, hugging his own knees. Then they heard the sounds again. This time, they were much closer. Something was scratching at the shed wall with fingernails, and they could hear footsteps. And the worst part, the dog started barking, furiously. Sergio's fear intensified when they heard the dogs whimpering. "Hey, Sergio," Jacobo said. "We have to wake up your mom. We have to wake up your mom." "I'm not going out," Sergio replied. "I'm not leaving here." Jacobo, in a moment of courage, grabbed Sergio by the shoulders. "Fine," he said. "If that's what you want, stay. I'm going to the house." "No, Jacobo. Don't. Please. Don't even think about it. Don't go. Don't leave this place." "Wait," Jacobo said. "Don't worry. I'll be right back. I'll go get your mom." Jacobo took a breath, opened the door, left, and slammed it shut behind him. But less than 30 seconds passed before Sergio started crying, because he could hear Jacobo's screams outside. He heard something running back. It was Jacobo. Sergio opened the shed door, then slammed it shut again. The only word he managed to say to his friend was, "Help me." Right after that, they grabbed everything they could, shelves, chairs, a table, and piled it against the door. Maybe Jacobo hadn't meant to frighten Sergio even more, but when he spoke, it hit like a punch. "Sergio, you're not going to believe me," Jacobo said. "I saw your mom out there. She was staring at me, but I knew something was wrong when I saw your mom's shape behind the fence." He didn't finish the last part. Because suddenly, something started scratching at the shed door again. They heard the same footsteps. The boys hugged each other. For some reason, the light bulb trembled. Minutes passed. Slowly, the noises outside faded. Then everything became quiet, wrapped in silence. So the two boys stayed there all night, terrified. By morning, Sergio's mother had to ask her friend for help dismantling the door, because the boys refused to open it. Sergio started crying again. He hugged his mother, and Jacobo mirrored him. Shocked by how the children had behaved, they decided to check outside. They found something they wished they had never seen. The dog was dead. Its skin had been torn open. The creature that attacked it must have been huge, so they knew it wasn't just an accident when they saw that one of the shed walls was completely scratched from the outside. It was so close to breaking the whole structure down. And that's how this story ends, without any explanation at all. It was simply something that happened. And even years later, Sergio, now grown, keeps telling it, insisting that it's completely real.